Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
Lee.
And Oracle. Right, okay, moving on from Red Bull.
Yeah, last week we were looking forward to a few more launches. We had a launch, but wasn't really a launch. Christian Horner saying at the Red Bull launch that this car's going to look a lot different when it comes on track. Yes, mate, that's because that's a show car with a Red Bull livery on it.
But Malibu Stacy's got a new hat and they've got a new sponsor.
Oracle Red Bull Racing.
Which, everything that Oracle has put the name to, because it was Dan that pointed this out. Yes, he is still alive, we just can't tell you where he is. Everything that Oracle has put the name to just crashes and burns.
Dan has a lot of knowledge on this, doesn't he? Maybe that's what he's been up to in his spare time.
Well, even the woman that played Oracle in Matrix died after filming it.
Well, there you go.
Spoiler. Oh, that's real life, hang on.
Yeah, that's real life.
Still never seen a Matrix film.
The first one's fucking great, and it's just like the fact that anything the Wachowskis did after The Matrix was shit. Just watch the first one.
There we go, then.
So that's Red Bull as well then. We're all finished with that, because it's a show car with a livery on it.
That exists only in The Matrix.
I think it's cool.
What, the livery?
No, the Red Bull livery, although it never changes, like it always looks cool, doesn't it? It's
you know what you're getting with it.
Yeah, but the fact that we've got this new season coming in with all new regs, we're all looking at like what the cars are going to be doing. What happens? We get a Haas that comes out, which is like the first week of them building the car, and Red Bull drop the fucking FIA show car that's repainted. I think it's fucking great. It's like the piss boiling is off the charts for a start. But it's just that whole like industrial espionage, and I love that about Formula One. You know, they're trying to keep things in and bringing bringing different liveries to tracks because they're difficult to take photographs of. It makes me wet anyway. I think it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, do we think Red Bull are going to go for some kind of camo vibe for testing?
Oh, fucking active camo.
I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I think that's the reason they've not shown their car yet, is because they've got something up their sleeve. They didn't want to be the first ones, first of the front running teams to be like, here's our car, look at this awesome thing that we've done, which then gives the others still a little bit of time to change things if they really wanted to. So I think they've got something hidden up their sleeve. But I think it's going to be something so big that not even Camo's going to hide it.
That was it, wasn't it? That's how fucking advanced they are, is the car was there. The new car was there on stage, but it's got a cloak.
I like it.
I mean, how they've disguised the afterburners, I've no idea.
Well, they certainly made Hamilton's championship disappear.
Too soon? No.
For a lot of people, it will always be too soon.
Yes, we know. Oh, I love F1 Twitter.
Do you know what the funny thing is? I was thinking about this, and I've seen lots of people complain. And do you know what? On that day, Lewis Hamilton deserved to win that race. He did deserve to win that race. But let's all be perfectly honest. Over the course of that season, Max Verstappen deserved to win that championship.
Yeah. Anything could have happened in that last race, and it did.
And it usually did.
And if that isn't the best tribute to Murray Walker ever, I have no idea what is. Well, we did get to see a rail car last week.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, the unveiling was... I didn't see the press of the Aston Martin press, but a regular contributor to the podcast and also awesome radio DJ, Kieran Thompson, said that... Lance Stroll was up to speed again when it came to his press. His press. What's the word? He's made me lose track now.
Was he doing like an announcement-y thing?
You mean
media training?
You mean Lawrence?
Lawrence Stroll, sorry, yeah, with his media training.
Oh, was he robotic and animated as usual?
Apparently so, yeah. I haven't seen it, as I say.
Yeah,
so,
me and Kieran actually did have a conversation during that saying you can tell how old he is by cutting him in half and count the rings.
I think he's going to fuck that team, you know.
Either that, or they've got this year very, very right, because that car is it looks great. I really like the way that Aston Martin looks. Strange that they ran the car at Silverstone at the filming day. Was it the following day after the launch, with that front wing so high? I don't know if that's to try and encourage air underneath the car.
Scarp's talked about it. That
Right.
seems to be the philosophy of actually running that car. So expect to see that as a thing of the new Formula One cars.
Yeah, because they're also stretching the rules a little bit, Aston Martin, with what they've done with the T tray. You know, the bit that sits in front, sort of underneath where the driver sits.
Yeah.
They've kind of got double T tray, which isn't illegal in the rules, but also isn't kind of specified as to, you know, it specifies you're supposed to have a single element, but they've got two. But it's a very big grey area as sort of how they've gotten around.
Any kind of
having
grey
a double
area in
T-tray.
any sort of techie thing is fair game, isn't it? If
Yeah.
it's not banned, it's fine.
So the T-tray is going to be this year's diffuser.
It could well
Or
be,
F
yeah.
duct or DAS.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, it's an interesting. If you can have a look at the images of the Aston Martin, you can see that it's got that sort of double-lipped T-tray. Very, very strange, and should have quite a decent effect on directing air underneath the car. But yeah, that's it's interesting, and it's very different to the show car or anything else that we've seen. You know, in renders or anything like that. I mean, before that, all we'd seen was the show car Red Bull and the render of the Haas. So it was really nice to see a real car, and then watch the following day when it went out on track. And how cool is that green when the sun hits it?
Oh, yeah.
Big
That
fan.
looks absolutely fantastic.
I'm a fan of the Aston Martin livery, and hopefully it's a good car for Sebastian and Lance to chuck around the circuits this year.
I hope so. Do you know, one thing that was a red flag for me for them was, I mean, maybe this goes without saying, but it doesn't feel like it should. Did any of you watch like the media piece that Aston Martin put out?
I did not.
No. It was just, the only reason I watched it, to be perfectly honest, because it was their shakedown. You know, so you got to see and hear one of the cars on the track, so that's why I watched it. The first driver featured in it was Lance.
Oh, I saw that. Sorry, yeah, little Lance Stroll having a quick word with the camera in the
No, but yeah, and then out in the car.
Yeah, and then Vettel afterwards.
Yeah. Now, I understand he is son of the boss of the team, but in what world does a team not lead with their 4-time world champion?
They have
Aston Martin.
Yeah, they've every bit on their website last year after every race when they put quotes from the drivers, regardless of finishing position, it was always Lance first.
It's not. It's like he's not the droid they're looking for. It's,
Yeah, but I mean, when you go to a gig, you don't want to see the headliners first. You want to get through the warm-up act.
well, I mean, yeah, but sometimes you have to get through the warm-up act. But and sometimes if they're behind you, the warm-up act will go through you. But I just found that really weird. But
You'll find this one even weirder. I'm on Aston Martin's media site at the minute, and they released all the Stroll photos on Friday and all the Vettel photos today.
See,
Vettel's gone back to his German helmet
they're
again, hasn't he? Because
desperately trying-
BWT of
they're desperately trying to
off.
post a boy Stroll.
He's heard that the Mercedes were interested in him should Hamilton decide to not race this year, and he's got his eyes set on fucking next year in America, I think.
Yeah, what was it you said about how competitive the Aston Martin will be? Will decide where he ultimately ends up.
Yeah.
It must have been a 2-year deal, was it? He signed for Aston Martin then.
Yeah, that sound about
I
right.
think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how the car actually looks again when it gets to testing, because the render that they put out only had half the suspension on.
Oh.
It was
What,
only
Aston Martin?
Yeah, they only had the suspension, the full suspension
they've had the
on
full
the
car
left.
put out.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
pictures of the proper car.
Yeah, the photos that they released are very careful not to show anything in too much detail, as the teams normally do at this time of year. But yeah, if you look on the render, Only the left half of the suspension's actually complete. There's bits missing on the right.
I mean, you'd
Oh,
assume
is that
the right
including-
would look the same as the left.
You would think, unless, and I'm starting a conspiracy theory here, that's the Indy Oval configuration, and they're going to do a surprise entry into the 500 this year.
Maybe.
Might be a little out of spec, but yeah, it's a good idea.
Then the next one up on Friday was McLaren.
Which was a proper launch. It was a little bit, not quite as bad as last year's, but it was a bit drawn out, wasn't it?
Well, that was the brand launch for 2022, wasn't it? Because we got the new Extreme E, we got the IndyCar, and we got the. I mean, if you read it, the McLaren Zumpok esports team. It says Shadow, but it's in a bizarre font, and they print it sideways, so it looks like it's Zumpok.
And the Lego kit.
Oh, and the Lego.
They launched the Lego
Which
as well.
looks fucking awesome, and I'm not a big person for buying toys as an adult, but that looks
How's that
cool.
new laptop treating you that you've plugged your Fanatec wheel into?
That's not toys, though, is it? Do we consider we don't consider that a child's toy?
No, you're right. We don't. It's perfect. It's perfectly acceptable adult stuff.
It is a game.
Yeah,
It's a simulator.
You find me a fucking kid that can drop fucking 900 quid on a fucking wheel.
Lance Stroll.
yeah, okay. Fine. So a kid not involved in Formula One and has no allegations against fucking people in Hollywood.
Mazepin. Well,
Mazepin's in
he
Formula One.
Well, he did get involved in it last year.
Well, I suppose so. He's also not a kid. Well, I'm talking about children. It's a fucking great looking car, though, isn't it?
It does look good. In true media control style, you didn't really get to see masses of what it's got on there, but apparently McLaren are looking, making noises about the car being more reliable this year, and they've cracked a lot of the engine problems, which is interesting because they've gone for a different cooling strategy than Aston Martin have.
They've gone for an entirely different philosophy all over.
Because I mean, the Aston's got the I think people were calling it the Shark AirPod tops with the little vents on top, and the back end of the Aston is a hell of a lot wider than the back of the McLaren.
No, it's slimmer, isn't it? McLaren's quite a bit wider, I think, than
No.
The Aston is practically square if you look at it. McLaren's got the Coke bottle. The Aston's got a 6-pack.
The McLaren's got a
You mean you're talking about the side pods or the very back of the car?
The side pod's down to the back.
It's got a very McLaren monocoque and back end. You know, it's like it's still got the DNA of the size 0 to it.
What, the McLaren?
Yeah.
No, it's much wider than that. Much wider.
It's not when you compare it to the Aston Martin.
I'm just sending a picture of the Aston Martin in the in our group chat.
Is that a toilet?
Yes, that's a toilet.
That's quite good. I like that.
I mean, improving reliability is an interesting thing for a team that had one DNF for each car last year.
Yeah, but apparently the main issue was it was cooling, the same problems that Mercedes were having. But I think they've got on top of that this year, and they can run the engine a lot cooler and a lot hotter for longer without causing the issues.
So I'm just looking at the top view of both cars side by side here because I weirdly just found a picture of them two next to each other. So you're talking that the actual side pods where the shark fins are is fatter.
Yes.
Also, yeah, that's agreed. But at the back, the McLaren is right at the back where the exhaust exits. The McLaren's a lot fatter than the Aston Martin.
Maybe that's why they put all the cooling
Interesting.
elements.
So they've gone. I'm not looking at it, but have they gone sort of skinnier rear wing, but chunkier where the car is on the track?
Yeah, I'll see if I can send this one over to the group. This is going to make fantastic listening for
yes.
everybody. Hey, look at this picture that we're listening to.
Everyone, bring your most descriptive words. Oh.
Yes, it looks like stuff.
I think it's the best looking car since the Brawn.
What, the
The
McLaren?
McLaren or the
Yeah.
Aston?
The
The McLaren.
The thing is with the McLaren as well, they haven't gone. Aston Martin have gone for the undercut, the swooping underneath the air inlets, like underneath. So maybe they've gone wider on top because they've undercut their side pod slightly.
I think the McLaren's haven't undercuts as well. I think
McLaren is bulky as hell.
But it's longer, isn't it? So it looks more spaced out.
The McLaren is flat at the front of those side pods, all the way down to the floor almost, and is skinnier around the side pods. But two totally different aero philosophies coming from Aston Martin and McLaren. It'd be really interesting to see which one is the correct philosophy and which ones other teams go for as well. We had AlphaTauri, didn't we, launch today?
With the square side pod inlets.
Yeah, which look a little bit like the Aston Martin ones, and then the blanked off bit that goes all the way out to, the extremities of where you're legally allowed to take the side pods. But they seem to be following the similar philosophy to Aston Martin rather than the McLaren route.
Just a quick point out, I don't think the McLaren back end is much different size to the Aston Martin. I just think they've elongated that cover. I think what's under that cover would probably tuck in quite a lot. I think that covers.
I think the cover's there for air circulation.
Yeah, it's the surface area that's there. Yeah, it's the side pods and stuff like that in tucking. I was meaning it's still got the size 0 DNA, but I think the cutouts are still on the McLaren. I just think they're difficult to see because it's black.
Yeah, let's try and find a side picture and send that through as well, because the Aston Martin is very, very definitely undercut. McLaren is pretty flat.
It's much bigger, but I think it's just because of how big those side pods are.
So I think we could be seeing Red Bull go for something similar, because saying that the AlphaTauri looks very similar to the Aston Martin, AlphaTauri are using Red Bull rear suspension this year. So that usually relates a lot to the aero philosophy as well.
Yeah, have we ever seen an AlphaTauri that looks like the Red Bull, though, really?
They actually genuinely don't look that similar usually.
Keep hearing music. Who's playing music?
Sorry, I forgot my phone was turned up from when we were looking at silly videos before recording, and then I accidentally scrolled on my phone, and then a different video started making noise, but I've made it go away now.
Now just muted my phone just in case I do it as well. Dead professional as always. That's what everybody comes back for, our thorough professionalism.
Every time, it's all I get people messaging me about is the professionalism.
No, they're offering you professional services. I think they're meant to go in your spam folder.
Oh.
So anyway, the AlphaTauri, it looks interesting. I've not seen a car with square.
I quite like that livery as well.
Yeah, I've not seen a car with square inlets since the 80s.
Well, the Astons, they're square, aren't they? But then there's a blanked off bit next to it, which makes it look like the air inlet, but it isn't. It's to push the air outwards. If you get a front view of the Aston, you see it's actually got quite squarish inlets, and the black bit is it's not actually the inlet. The inlet is square, and the black bit is just making it look like it's a hole, but it isn't.
Oh, it is. It is. I didn't actually notice that. But looking at the actual real car coming out of the garage.
Yeah, the inlets are square, like very much like the AlphaTauri that we saw today.
Yeah, I haven't studied the actual back end of the Aston particularly, but the shape of the Alpha, sort of it's narrower at the bottom than at the top, which is
The Alpha looks like it was delivered via Stargate, doesn't it?
I'll just post this render as well of the Aston in our chat group, and you'll see how pronounced that cut is underneath the air inlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see.
It is only a render, though.
Yeah, you can see the sort of double stepping.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot going on that Aston that's very, very different. As I say, the AlphaTauri that we've seen today is not that dissimilar. It appears to be following a similar philosophy. Hard to tell until we see the cars out on track. Another important point is as well, if you look at the Aston Martin cars, you see where the front of the floor is behind the front wheels.
Yes.
Where the green Aston Martin or yellow Aston Martin writing is, that comes out like that's fat, that's big, it's huge. Whereas if you look at the McLaren, it's quite small. McLaren have made theirs really small, and Aston Martin have made theirs really big.
But McLaren's looks longer in that area as well. So
yeah.
I haven't had a chance until right now while we're talking about it, had a chance to look at the AlphaTauri. But looking at these renders that they put out, I mean, they have put out the most rendery of renders. If someone had told me this was just like concept art for the 2022 video game, I'd have just had it. It's renders that aren't even pretending not to be like artistic interpretations of whatever the car's going to be.
I mean, at least they've shown they've shown a few things that the car's going to be like. They haven't slapped a skin on the.
There was a leak
car.
of the physical actual bodywork just sat in the garage, and it looks fairly similar.
They haven't, but I'd be brave enough to suggest that if Red Bull think they have something so special, they're willing to drop the FIA show car to keep it secret. I'm willing to bet that they would put out a fake render of the AlphaTauri, which is close enough to a Formula One car under these rules to make you think it would be the real car.
I mean, it's Red Bull, so you can't rule it out. But yeah, I mean, AlphaTauri and Red Bull historically haven't had super identical cars. Yeah, looking at
just seems odd. It seems odd putting a car out. It seems odd. Like usually when they put renders out of cars, it at least looks at them, the reflections and things like that, and where the light source is coming from. They at least make an effort to make it feel like you're looking at like a physical object that exists. Looking at these renders of the AlphaTauri, they're clearly computer generated images. There's no fooling anybody. If you show that to somebody, it's a fucking computer game model.
Oh yeah. But yeah, if you look at the
Haas, it's MS Paint.
But yeah, of the actual physical bodywork that leaked a couple of days ago, it's you can see the square side pods. It's very similar.
Yeah. Also, if you spotted on the AlphaTauri at the back there, and I've never seen this on a car before. I've only ever seen it on motorcycles.
Wheels.
HRC.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What's that? I don't know what it's for. What is it?
Honda Racing.
Yeah, which is usually reserved for their motorcycle division.
So that must be just their little bit of branding that they're putting on the cars now.
Yeah, because they obviously are still providing the engines, but they not.
But Tag Heuer are tuning them.
Well. Thank you, Switzerland.
They will make sure the engines turn up on time.
Yeah, it's like I was watching a bit of the Six Nations this weekend, and it looked like the Italian players' shorts were sponsored by Suzuki. They didn't have the speed for that.
No, I think they did. Probably.
I thought Suzuki's were meant to be fast.
There is a little bit in the press release about the HRC thing, but the website I'm on is so full of cookie, not cocky.
What are you watching?
Freudian.
I thought this was Reuters. The cookie pop-ups are all in my business, so
I would just like to point out as well.
Don't do that at work, Sean.
I'm off this week. It's fine.
If we can look at the front wings, of the three real cars that we've seen so far. Well, three real cars. I'm talking AlphaTauri, like we've actually seen the car. Look at how the nose is attached to the front wing, and compare that with the other two cars. It's very, very different. They've taken the nose like further past the front part of the front wing, whereas Aston Martin and McLaren have taken it to the second element back. See what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
So that's worth pointing out. It's going to be a different.
Well,
so it's different.
All being well, we'll be joined by Scarbs in the not too distant future.
Cool.
When he replies to that message I
Because
sent
he
him.
will actually know what he's looking at.
Yes.
Rather than us just going, oh, it looks like this.
Well, according to you, cock warnings.
No cock warnings.
The Ferrari allegedly leaked today.
Well, yeah, it looks real, doesn't it? But I mean,
it's
when I say
red,
it looks
so...
real, it looks real as a real render can look. Have you seen it, Lee?
Sorry, what was that?
The Ferrari leak.
Oh, I have not seen the Ferrari leak. Sorry, I thought we were still talking about Alpha. Have you got the pictures to send me of that?
Yeah, I sent it through to the link in the chat group, but then we had a conversation. I think it got swallowed up.
This was an unlabeled Instagram at some point this afternoon.
It's okay, I'm going to...
It's all right. I've got it here for you, Lee.
Is it Instagram? I've got it, I think.
Well, it's a picture of a Ferrari looking like the new spec with Binotto stood behind it. However, it looks like the show car.
Yeah, I'm not having that.
It does have shark gills in it. It's different to the show car. Although
The show car
there.
did. One of the show cars did have shark gills in it, though. In fact, yeah, one of the shark gills on the show cars actually changed over time and ended up looking like the Aston Martin ones. They started really small, so maybe this is like an early show car, like one of the first ones.
Maybe this is what they're going to launch with.
Maybe.
Much like Red Bull, it did fool me at first. I'll be honest. Red Bull, I was looking at it like, this looks different.
It fooled Scalps for about 5 minutes.
I tell you what I don't like, and why I don't think it's real, is the bad photoshopping of the number 1 on the 16 of the front of the car. The way it's smudged and doesn't bend, you could see it wants to bend around the side rather than being square on the flat bit.
Yeah, it does look not the same as the 6.
Yeah.
I see where you're looking.
No, I'm looking at it on a PC screen, so I can't zoom.
Also,
No,
the front is 16 and the back is 55. That's very. That's very. We've got to keep them both happy.
Yeah.
Well, McLaren did that, didn't they? Their launch, number 4 was on the front and 3 was on the side.
Did you see? I know we left McLaren behind, but did you see Lando Norris's deal is worth a report $80 million?
Yeah, and it takes him to the end of 2025.
4 years, 4-year contract.
Which is strange because he signed a multi-year deal last year, didn't he?
It was only a 2-year one last year up to the end of this season.
Yeah.
Okay, but he was already signed up for last season.
Yeah, I think it was a renegotiation of what he was getting last season, and then to the end of this season.
Do you want a pay rise, Lando?
Yeah.
Sign this new contract.
I think it was for accountancy purposes.
Well, also Lando did say that he'd been talking to other teams as well. So I don't know whether there was a certain aspect of McLaren wanting to make sure they didn't lose him to someone. With all these talks about Lewis Hamilton leaving and stuff.
This is probably not a bad bet.
Yeah, but talking to other teams could have been going out for a glass of milk with Carlos.
Yeah, bold prediction. I think Daniel Ricciardo's fucked, and I don't think this car's going to fix him.
That would be a bolder prediction. Took him a while, didn't it?
Don't forget, it was much
under the table.
It was much better in his second season at Renault.
Yeah, he was, but he still never got it. Did he? We've never seen the Daniel Ricciardo at Red Bull since he's been at Red Bull. We never saw that, like the late overtakes, like throwing one in at somebody from like a different postcode. That Daniel Ricciardo left when he left Red Bull and hasn't returned yet.
I don't know. He did it that first year in France and then got a penalty for it.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Look at
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, these new regs might suit drivers. Some drivers better than others.
That's the thing. You will get some who suddenly are like, "Oh, where the hell have they come from?" and some who drop off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. It was the downforce was more evenly spread out across the car with the old regs, but with the new regs, apparently the downforce is very heavily, it's very center of the car, is where most of the downforce is going to be produced, given the Venturi tunnels. So I don't know if that makes it similar to driving a kart. So the drivers who still drive karts might take even better to Formula One. I don't know if that's. I'm probably just talking absolute bollocks. But
well, it makes a nice change for us.
It doesn't.
But I
it
can't
doesn't
think.
sound like it'll do Vettel many favors.
No, exactly. You know, I can't think that. I can't think of any other form of vehicle where or racing even where like the weight or like the most pressure is put on the center of the car, other than karting. That's why I made that comparison. Well, hello, Kat.
Yeah, Dizzy has opinions.
Yeah,
What does Dizzy think of the potential Porsche and Audi joining Formula One in 2026?
I think she wants Jaguar to come back.
What do you think about Porsche and Audi? Don't know whether you caught that.
I did.
Little
did.
purr.
Yeah. She thinks it's a good idea.
I think so.
That's what I got from that.
That
Yeah,
sounds
the
like
wise cat.
approval.
The cat has spoken. Right, the FIA have been busy today, in some ways.
No, they haven't.
Not on the right things.
No, but they've changed a lot of rules.
They turned up to work.
Yes.
This is like January the 2nd for the FIA, isn't it? They haven't been
What
working hard.
what can
They've
we
been
do to
there.
make us look busy without actually cracking on with anything that we need to do?
Well, they put out a statement saying that there is nothing to say at the moment.
It does look like, because they mention restructuring, don't they? So it does look like Michael Massey might be reassigned a position as a safety delegate,
Well-
which is the big rumour, isn't it, doing the rounds at the
Well,
moment?
Andrew Benson tweeted 25 minutes ago. Hashtag Monday News. Nothing set in stone, but insiders said one possibility for the future organisation of race control has emerged. This could see the role of race director rotated through a number of people during the season, but Massey may well not be one of them.
I don't hate the idea of the multiple ones. You kind of
I
open
do.
yourself up to non-consistent things, but at the same time...
Get the guy from WEC in, because he's already said he's not going to do it, but just throw money at him until he says yes. Give him Adrian Newey levels of money.
But yeah, I mean,
But
you
it,
need...
it doesn't mean that he's going to naturally do it for Formula One, though, does he?
No.
I mean, it's a completely different discipline.
This
I
is
think
true.
getting rid of Massey, and I realised that all the Lewis Hamilton guys are going to fucking hate me for this, but there you go.
They
It's
did
just
anyway,
gonna-
to be honest.
It's no, because they flip flop, don't they? Because sometimes I say things like I think he's the greatest driver of all times, and then other times I say bad things and they hate me again. But I don't think we should get rid of Massey. Like it's not like It's not like a plumber. They don't make 50 race directors every year. So yeah, he had a bad year. Like he had a bad year in his job, and in a really difficult job to get the fucking hang of. The idea that it's like football managers. Like, how many times do you see football teams, or Ferrari, for instance, just go through a period of sacking people, expecting, like, in some sort of fucking quantum leap, that the next guy will be their leap to a championship? It just seems silly getting rid of Massey because no one else has got the experience of doing a year of Formula One, doing a year of the job.
I mean,
Thank you for.
He got the promotion. Yes, that was your TED talk. We know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't.
I mean, he got the
don't
promotion because
disagree.
he'd been doing F2 and F3 previously. So
Yeah, but it's not Formula One, though, is it?
He was also a safety delegate, wasn't he? Before he was, I don't know if he still is a safety delegate, but he was also a safety delegate before he was made the race director. But I don't disagree with what Lee said, but at the same time, it's now widely accepted, isn't it, that the rules were not applied properly.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change the result, as I said many times before. So quit whinging about that because it's not going to happen. But
hashtag void lap 58 has been trending.
well, fuck that. So yeah, it's. I understand.
The problem is
people's
no one was
anger,
going to be
but-
happy. No one was going to be happy
Yeah.
in that
No,
situation.
and yeah, so I understand why people are like, oh, okay, it's not necessarily Michael Massey's fault, but he's at the same time the responsibility has to stop somewhere. And there's a reason why Michael Massey was put in such an important job as a figurehead, was that the buck would stop with him, much like the buck stops with most leaders. And to be honest with you, most leaders, I'm not going to go into that, but most leaders would take responsibility and say, guys, even though it was the wrong thing to do, I've got to step down because it happened on my watch. I shouldn't have let that happen. Regardless of whether it was him that made the decisions or not, that to me is why I think Michael Massey's going to struggle to stay in his job. He may well keep it, but I think he's on borrowed time no matter what happens.
I think he'll be under like massive scrutiny, but sometimes it's that massive scrutiny. Come with the hour, come with the man, sort of thing. Yeah, that can improve somebody. So it just seems like the idea that sacking Michael Massey will immediately make the running of Formula One better is a silly idea. And that seems to. I'm not saying on this by anyone here today. But that seems to be like the general consensus on the fucking cesspool that is like F1 Twitter.
There's no one to plug in, is there, to that, to that role? It's not something you can just be like, oh, you know what you're doing, you do it.
Yeah. So and that's you see, if they had followed the letters of the rule, like if he'd have had it end under a safety car or something like that, we'd have had exactly the same thing the other way. If they'd have dropped a red flag and done a restart, it would have been like, oh, they just wanted to make the last race exciting, because all people do is complain about stuff now. I'm not saying that what happened to Lewis was right, but now and again in sport, things don't go your way. You don't get referee calls. You have fucking hand of gods in sport, and it's something that's going to be talked about for ages. But to try and pretend it's some sort of fucking international incident that we can't get over is pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it may well be unfair, but you're never going to change that result.
No, and a lot of, again, and I wanted Lewis Hamilton to win the championship. Don't get me wrong, I wanted him to win that 8th title and beat Max Verstappen purely because of the driving standards of Max Verstappen. On the races, on a couple of races before that,
especially at Saudi Arabia,
absolutely. But it is what it is, and as I consider myself a good to like semi-professional piss boiler. I do respect the piss boiling that happened on that day.
Moving on.
Well, the F1 Commission have at least been busy and done things. They've announced that the compromise has been reached about sprint races, and it's going to be Imola, Austria, and Brazil.
So this is Austria replacing Silverstone.
Yes.
Cool.
It should have been every race should have had a sprint race. It should have just become part of the new fucking format. If it didn't work, we could have got rid of it the year after. Doing this, people say they don't want gimmicks in Formula One. Well, there you go. It's now a gimmick.
Yeah, it does make it a novelty. And even if they did it every other, just to sort of see what happens when they make it more of a regular thing than the 3 before rolling it out as a everything, then fair enough. But yeah, keeping it at 3 seems a bit meh.
So they've changed the points as well, and it's now points for the top 8, and it doesn't determine the grid. That will now be from qualifying on Friday.
No, pole is qualifying on Friday. The rest of it is.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's not sprint qualifying anymore. It is just called a sprint. But yeah, qualifying.
Oh, I misunderstood.
Oh, don't worry, they did not make it clear. So yeah, pole comes from qualifying on Friday. Pole for the Grand Prix on Sunday. Then there's the sprint, which is not sprint qualifying, but that will determine the rest of the grid.
Oh, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's
they may as well get rid of it then.
So what?
How?
So there's no point if you're in second chasing first, and first is already starting on pole on Sunday.
Yeah.
There is no real point in trying to overtake them.
Unless you want that extra point.
Yeah, they've ruined it.
Yeah, they have. It's dead easy. Dead fucking easy. You do 2 things. You can do 2 things with this. You either do what they were doing, which I didn't hate. I didn't hate it forming the grid for Sunday. So you can do your Friday qualifying, or you do. You could even do a one-shot qualifying on Saturday before the race if you wanted to. You know, if you wanted a new way of forming the grid for the sprint race, have a really, really quick qualifying for your really quick race. This is just fucking nothing. It makes no sense.
No, agreed.
Oh, this is the problem. This is the problem with fucking right. No sport should listen to the teams or fans to a certain extent, not to the detriment of the sport, because nobody's ever happy. Like I just said before, and most of the time, as long as it's entertaining, complaining about the sport is half of watching a sport, isn't it?
Yeah, particularly on Twitter.
Yeah, but it seems that complaining about the sport is now starting to fucking affect the sport. It's like an infection. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, either the trial was last year. I don't know why we have to only have 3 events. Either all of them or none, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even the idea of just because it was going to be 6, wasn't it? 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take it all came down to money. They were worried about the budget cap.
Yeah, so they've not changed the cost cap additions from last year.
So then scrap the sprints altogether until you got that sorted.
Yes, I totally. You've done it as a format. It works. If you can't do it for every Grand Prix, sack it off because it will happen. Don't get it right. We will. I don't care if it's next year or the year after. Now it's happened once, and all people are interested in that run the circuits and put on the promoters that put these races on are interested in bums on seats and eyes on televisions. So if the sprint races are doing numbers, every race is going to want their sprint race because it makes more people buy tickets for Saturday.
Which makes Austria seem an odder choice because they get like the entirety of the Netherlands.
Well, I mean, how many laps is a fucking sprint race going to be for Austria? Jesus.
Fucking hell. Unless they keep it to about 15, it'll be about an 8-minute sprint race.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? One third distance?
I can't remember.
That's fucking iRacing, that.
Someone
like
legitimately could get lapped in Austria. If there is a proper shit car, like a Haas, there could actually be lapping in that time.
Christ. I didn't realise I'd messed it up that much. I thought it was qualifying, then there'd be a sprint, and the sprint was just an extra race for extra points.
Remember the picture I showed you of the Formula E qualifying?
Yes.
Like the diagram of how that worked.
This needs a similar diagram.
Yeah. Oh, it's a proper hold my beer moment, isn't it?
Christ almighty. How to break Formula One. We spend all that time trying to fix it.
Yeah.
7 years we've been doing this, trying to fix F1.
But it gives us something to whinge about.
That is true.
Yeah, it would be much easier if they just said, "Look, we're not going to do sprints this year because of the cost cap, but we're going to look at it again for 2023."
Unless by doing that you look like you've folded, and then then it's we won. There's going to be no, and then when you bring it back the year after, it's going to be we've tried this and it didn't work. So by at least keeping the 3 races in, it keeps it going, doesn't it? It keeps it inside Formula One. So then if they do want to roll more out the following year by sorting that out, I suppose that makes sense in that respect. But
yeah, they tried it with 3 last year. They tweaked the format and trying it with another 3 next year. Maybe by 2026, when the new engine regulations come in,
there'll be 8.
They'll have decided what they're going to do with the sprint race.
Yeah.
By which time Stefano Domenicali will have left and the new guy will come in with his own ideas.
To be fair, I was disappointed there's only 3 sprint races because I did enjoy the weekends with sprint races. But I'm more disappointed that what they've done with how to form the grid on Sunday, that just, to me, seems like a real kerfuffle.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying with a beer on Friday night, great. Drink responsibly.
Yeah.
If you can find responsibly in the shops, try it. It's really good. The other thing they've done, this one actually may make sense, is I think everyone's going to end up calling it the Spa rule. It's now only a race after 2 racing laps without a safety car or virtual safety car. And then a sliding scale of points. So if it's between 2 laps and 25%, only the top 5 score. 25 to 50, the top 9 score. 50 and 75, the top 10 score, but it's lower amounts of points for...
so is it like
that
6?
makes sense.
It's something like 6 points, isn't it, for a race win under 25%?
Yeah, 13 for under 50% and 19 for under 75%.
Nah, fuck it. I'm with organising like pole position from qualifying, but not the rest of the grid. I'm going with that guy. I think it should be double points in the event of no race. Fuck it.
Yeah, journalist Chris Medland did a long thread of tweets explaining everything with the points and the percentages, to which Statman retweeted it all just with the simple statement, fuck my life.
I mean, it'll give him plenty of new content.
Yeah, and you know, and now the definition of pole is different as well, so...
Oh well,
it's good when they
do you know what I don't like? Do you know what I don't like? It's the it's when you have to speak to people that half watch Formula One, and I speak to lots of people, like in my local Manxie, know how much I'm into Formula One. Know I do this. Mm-hmm. So if I go up the pub on like a Saturday evening or something, I'll be like, "Oh, who's on pole?" And now you've got to go, "All right, Lewis Hamilton's on pole. Who's second?" Ah, well, no one's actually second yet. You know, it's fucking stupid. Stupid it is.
Yeah, maybe go back to Sunday qualifying.
I loved the races when it's been a wet qualifying and you've done qualifying on Sundays. See, that would be the way to do it, wouldn't it? You could have your qualifying session after Friday practice to do the grid for the sprint race. Like I say, do something funky with it, like a one-shot qualifying or something like that for your quick race. Have your sprint race Sunday morning. Have your full qualifying session for your full race.
Yeah, that'd work.
Whoever the guy that's fucking fucked with it this time, is that difficult? That doesn't seem difficult to work out.
Also, another bit of breaking news. Scalbs is coming on the show after the Barcelona shakedown. I've just had a message back from him.
This is good.
That's good.
So that will be in 3 weeks.
Someone who knows what they're on about.
Yes.
Have we got anything else?
Don't think so, really.
No.
Oh, Alpine and their new livery is going to be incorporating some pink because they have signed a deal with BWT.
Which everyone thought they would do.
Yes.
Now we're just waiting for Otmar to sign on the dotted line.
Well, an F3 car has been leaked, hasn't it? Which looks suspiciously purple.
Yes. And also, what else is the other news today of Alpine? Oh, yes. Jack Doohan has jumped ship from the Red Bull meat grinder to the Alpine meat grinder. In meat grinding news.
I wish Alpine had been sponsored by Alpen.
Alpine.
Alpine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Wish I didn't have a mouthful of vape at the time.
So we're gonna have launches. What launches have we got left? We got Merc on Friday. Anyone before that?
Ferrari.
Williams tomorrow.
Williams tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm quite excited about seeing
Ferrari is this week, isn't
Ferrari,
it?
I think, is Thursday.
Yes.
I have it in my head Wednesday as a random day off.
Yes. And then I think Alfa Romeo are actually launching at Barcelona.
No, they're launching
Bahrain.
after
Bahrain,
Barcelona.
sorry.
Yeah, Bahrain they're
Oh,
launching.
and
Yeah.
Bahrain have got a new track deal that takes them until about 20 million T.
2036,
Something
I think
like
they've
that.
signed up to.
Which would mean 33 runnings of the Bahrain Grand Prix, which would currently be more than what Barcelona has done.
It's because Bahrain have many monies, I suspect.
I was going to say you don't get much oil in the Catalan region.
No.
Well, olive oil mainly, but that doesn't make as much money as oil.
I would do all of the spells if I could somehow voodoo my way into Ferrari having a shit car this year. I just think with the change of formula and everything, not even a shit car. Sorry, no, not a shit car. The same,
just really average.
Yeah, just the same average Ferrari thing. Where it comes out, you go, "Oh, might win a race.
Nah.
Might win a race if the wind's in its direction." Yeah, I think it'd be fucking hilarious.
Happy little soul tonight, aren't you?
I am happy. I'm happy Lando's got his contract. I think the new McLaren's beautiful and going to win world championships.
Right, on that note, check the website because we'll be starting the 2022 Formula Lee season very soon, now that the spreadsheet intern has returned to Discord. So it'll be all the information on that coming up on the website in the next week or so. So that's 3legs4wheels.com.
Did we forget to feed him? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he just vanished. And he actually turned up on Discord while we were recording tonight, saying with a new name called the Spreadsheet Intern Returns, and he said, "I still have all the spreadsheets."
I bet he's so much fun.
Hey, come on, cannot beat a good spreadsheet. For anyone that wants to laugh at me trying to virtually race an oval, I'm doing the Daytona 500 on Saturday morning, 10 o'clock UK time.
Nice.
And I'll be streaming that on Twitch.
Are you going to stream that on our Twitch? Because I'll pop in and have a watch of that.
Yeah, that's the only Twitch account. I've got the 3legs4 wheels one.
Yeah.
So yes, I'll be streaming my attempt at that. Trying to go better than last year when I got 60 laps in and got wiped out in a 12-car pile-up.
I'm dead close. I'm coming back in. I think I'm two. If I get two clean wins away from my C license now.
Nice.
You'll have to come back on a Sunday night, and if anyone online racing wants to join the 3legs4 wheels Sunday iRacing League, drop us a tweet and I'll send you the instructions on how to do it. So you can get us at 3legs4 wheels. I'll pass the instructions on.
I'm not going to come on Sunday. I'm just going to wait until I can enter as a wild card.
The problem is you sign up to iRacing with your name, so when you come in, we'll know it's you.
No, but I'll be a wild card because you won't know if I'm any good or not now.
Well, if you keep telling people on the podcast how good you are.
No, I'm not saying I'm good. I'm just saying I think my rating's over. It's over 1,000 now, and within wherever the rating is, I'm in the top 2 usually in the races. Top 2, 3. I don't qualify under 3rd now, really.
Just wait till you drive some of the incredibly evil cars. Oh, the Merc is fun, by the way. The W12.
Oh, is it? That's what we look. Because as soon as I get my C license, I'm going to skip the D license stuff and find something fun to do with C.
Don't do NASCAR trucks in that case. Anyway, this has veered off into iRacing. We'll have to have a sim racing special show at some point soon.
Yeah, it's a good idea. In between races or something like that would be cool.
Yeah, we'll get a few people on who do sim racing. See if we can get some actual real world drivers as well, and we'll have a sort of round table talking about sim racing. I just want to thank
real world fake drivers.
That's real world real drivers that do sim racing. People like friend of the show James Holman.
Yes, yeah.
And Dave Diario, he's on iRacing as well.
He's born a racing driver, wasn't he?
With a name like that, very much so. Just want to thank Ricky for that suggestion. So we'll put that into practice in the next few months.
Or he's like really cheap Chinese electronics. I could absolutely see myself in about 2001 buying a Diario DVD player.
God, no, they're an incredibly expensive brand of guitar strings.
That's Diario, isn't it? It's said different, isn't it?
No, it's the same.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Right, okay.
So
still sounds like a knockoff
here's
DVD.
There's a new feature, I think.
So you bought a Diario DVD player in 2001.
Yeah, but the DVD players that like straight out of the box could play like MP4s. Those ones.
I remember when they were cutting-edge technology. Talking of technology, if you want to get a hold of us, it's at 3 Legs 4 Wheels on all the socials, 3legs4wheels.com for the website, and patreon.com/3 Legs 4 Wheels if you want to financially help us out. We'll pod for cash.
Individual Twitter socials as well.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm at a total shunt on everything. Come follow me. It's the best follow you'll make all week.
At Flood21 on Twitter.
At Sean Cowper on Twitter.
And at Pablo100, also on Twitter. And I think I've got an Instagram account with that name that I never use.
Apparently, Diario is a Spanish-language newspaper.
And I think we've just found this week's show title.
And we're out.
We'll be back probably next week because we'll have more launches to talk about. And look forward to the Barcelona shakedown.
Indeed.
More launches than SpaceX.
Yay!
Let's go.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.